always kind of tell people when I do my presentations that I was fortunate to where I was brought up in two different worlds, to where with the urban Wichita side and then my cultural side. I just assumed that if you were Indian, you knew your culture, you practiced your customs and things like that. But it wasn't until high school, I guess, that I realized not everybody that's Indian actually did that. Each tribe, we are our own nation. I mean, and that's one of the biggest misconceptions that I see nowadays is most people think that, well, if you're Indian, Native American, whatever you want to call it, that, we all speak the same language. At one time and not very long ago, it was illegal for us to practice our customs. A lot of people think, well, all that bad stuff happened a long time ago. It's not that long. We were always taught growing up, don't take anybody at their word, find out for yourself. Statistically speaking, Native Americans have the lowest graduation rate of any ethnic group in the country. Whenever you see these celebrities that are kind of full of themselves and, throw headdresses on or something, that's very disrespectful. Then you hear that, well, I'm trying to honor you. And it's like, that's not honoring.
A common theme I see is that the natives want to tell their own story. And I'm perfectly fine with that because who better to tell it than them themselves?
Those are the type of effects that should spur us that are still here to do the best we can for them, because they made a huge sacrifice. All that, the things that our ancestors had to endure were for the purpose of us to be able to not only survive, but thrive. A lot of times throughout my life, I've always heard, well, all that stuff happened a long time ago. Get over it. I would encourage people, the best thing to do for not just natives, but non-natives is to, like you do, do your own research. Don't take somebody's word for it.
Jesus says, as God the Father has loved me, that's how I love you. And he's just imagine how much God loves Jesus. That's how much I love you. I had an encounter with the living God and his love, which was completely unexpected. And it changed me. If we're not going to be real with one another right now, will we ever be real with anyone? Moving back to the United States has felt like like we moved to a foreign country called the United States. I stopped reading the news and I stopped social media at that time. I didn't delete any of that stuff. I just quit looking and quit reading. And my mental health improved significantly. I can't recommend that everyone live their life this way, never read the news or look at the news or whatever. But if something really important happens, I hear about it. I'm not big enough to carry all the burdens of everyone in the world. Like, that's God's job. Right. Sometimes loving your neighbor means actually being present, not having your mind constantly on something else. There could be a major crisis happening right now. I have no idea, but it's probably going to be okay. You're going to have a hard time finding a kinder, more considerate culture than Japanese. I mean, they're so respectful. In America, it's more of it's a me and an I. There are certain things that only I can do. Only I am the husband to my wife. Only I am a dad to my kids. I'm not perfect. I need God's grace. You need God's grace. All that shows is that you're human. Are you ashamed of your humanness? Because humans make mistakes. Humans are weak. Humans sin. That's what humans do.
It's like a library of, it's a free library to keep your life stuff on, really.
Some people, if their whole worth is, trapped up in their ability in some specific thing, they're going to get a huge wake-up call. It's more about the friends and a weekend of fun, more than we have to do crazy cool tricks. It's really just all my favorite people in one place and doing something we all have a common interest in. I really just wanted a place I could share it with everybody and have fun with everyone. I'm not going to live my life in so much fear that I'm not going to have fun or have my friends over and stuff. She's just kind of learned to be like, just send me the video after or whatever. She just doesn't want to hear about it. I got knocked out once riding a scooter off a ramp. Got a huge black eye from hitting my head on the concrete. It's swollen shut, and so that was my wake-up call with that stuff. There comes a point, and there's so many people that quit doing extreme sports or just sports in general. It doesn't really have to be an extreme sport. And it always bums me out. You don't have to just quit, no matter what it is. You play softball, you join the weekend team or something. If you still like it, you can find a way to have fun with it. If I'm bored on like a Zoom meeting at my house, I got like 4 or 5 trampolines at my house, I'll just like mute it and go bounce around. A lot of the joy I get out of life is through movement and just doing things physically. I want to use this time I have to do cool, hard things like right now. You're going to fail publicly. It's going to be humiliating. Your views are going to go down when you think they're going to be up. And you're pretty much, it's like, I've never really been gambling, never been to like a casino or anything, but I think I'm a chronic gambler. Like, you always gamble when you post these videos. Like, will this one do well? Is my career going to take a big spike, or is it going to take a dip? You just don't know. I spend a lot of time to try to make the story as impactful and entertaining as possible, so there's a strength there. Really hard.
There is, that's a thing when you're creating your own things or editing. Like, it's always like, oh, I could have. You're never done editing. It feels like it's at some point you just got to be like, okay, you
have to abandon it.
Yeah,
you have to be like, it's good enough, I guess. You just have to stop. There's always more you could do to it. That's definitely the case. I got her onto Jordan by just always playing it on road trips or something, and she would hear it and she'd start listening. I was kind of lost for a while. I was like, all right, well, if that making a bunch of money and having some fame or whatever didn't just set me on a permanent path of joy, then what's the point? I've found that with the flipping community, there's not a lot of competition. And even when there is, it's friendly. Just so much encouragement. You get the return and joy. Hey, let's go to the trampoline park. Let's go drop from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Why not? And yeah,
that's crazy.
My mom always made the time for us growing up to go to all of our sporting events. 3 kids, single mom, and
I think that's all you have to do. But it's just like learn along with them. That way you can talk to them on the same level that they're interested in it. I've always been like a lifelong learner on things anyway. So
heck yeah. You didn't just retire from being interested in things.
Yeah.
Just like some people giving up, retiring from activities. Anyone that's willing to, stick their head out there and just try something new, I always respect that, because there's a lot of vulnerability in that. And also, it's just cool.
It's Kansas. A lot of entrepreneurship comes out of here, so people have another idea of something. So
I actually was born on their 1-year anniversary. So
wow.
We have this ongoing joke where, who could call who first to wish them a happy birthday or happy anniversary. I can't do everything for everybody, but I'm really good relationally to connect people to the right people. I think about the people that invested in me, cared for me, counseled me, encouraged me, and my parents. The problem we have is that there's this, huge gap of context to understand when maybe even Jesus was making, a funny statement. He talks about how there's a plank in your eye. You're looking at somebody's sawdust in their eye while you have a plank in your eye. The engagement process means it doesn't have to just be funny, but it has to be something that brings people in where they want to hear more, whether it is the historical significance of the text or whatever. What can I do to be a better father? Now, if you want to ask your kids that question, you have to prepare yourself. If we start thinking, well, I've arrived or I'm perfect, that's kind of like the Pharisees that Jesus encountered. He referred to them as whitewashed tombs, that they looked pretty on the outside, but inside they were full of death and decay. We want everybody to think we're perfect and we got it all together, but we need Jesus to come inside and bring us life internally, so that we can live with him forever.
Listen and speak.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I think I've done a pretty good job about that, just with anything.
Why do bad things happen to good people? You can't really control what happens, but you can control how you respond to what happens. It has rocked our world to just kind of be a part of a club we never want to be a part of. There is a camaraderie amongst cancer survivors and patients. Evaluate your whole life of what you want to accomplish, what you want to do. I've even told her, I said, if you need me to quit ministry and we go live in the Caribbean and I, go sell, pina colada, virgin pina coladas, I'll do it. The same way that I'm appreciative of what I do for a church, my first ministry is my household, my wife and my kids. It helps people to be a man of action. It helps people to be a woman of action, to go, okay, I finally have to bite the bullet and do this difficult thing. I don't like to passively let ministry happen. Like, what are we doing to love that? Our family fell in hard times and our church was there for us growing up.
Correct.
And I want us to be an active participant of our community.
Right.
And care for people. My heart is like, I don't want us to wait to do ministry. I love when I see my church go, we're ready to do ministry. I've taken a group of people and we feed about 100 people, and it's a lot of fun. If you've never done it, it's a lot of fun. I'm sure there's people that don't like me as a preacher, and that doesn't offend me. Like different strokes for different folks. You have some people that are Pepsi or Coke people, and I'm turning into a Dutch Brothers kind of guy. Find a church you can sink your teeth into and make it a better church. I love when people feel like they can call me and just have this open heart conversation. When you become a member, for me, it's my responsibility as shepherd of these sheep to talk about hard issues.
I come to understand that my God is my intuition. And the only time that my intuition can be listened to is if I'm taking care of myself. Mind, body, everything. A lot of times I feel like I did it on my own, but I didn't. I had people in my life that mattered. I just didn't see it. Once I just quit trying to fix myself, my life got a whole lot easier.